Hey, you may have a project coming on, you have to get it printed, and maybe you do a lot of digital work, a lot of, and obviously there's that difference between the images that are going to be on a computer and those that have to go to printing. So we're talking about optimizing your images for print. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to let this guy, this Michael, who kind of knows this stuff.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of different facets to this. To start, I would say 300 DPI, CMYK. Boom.
Yeah.
That's the minimum. That's what you want. Most digital printers now can print a lot higher than that. So if you're concerned and you have very nice pictures, I would go with more like 600 DPI.
Okay.
But that would be a start of where I would go with that. Saying that, when you're on a computer, everything is RGB. When you take a picture on your phone, everything's RGB. If you're using a more expensive camera and you're shooting in RAW, there's a whole nother dynamic to that. But if I put something on my computer, a Macintosh computer, and I'm assuming that most computers also have this, and I have a picture that's RGB, and I switch it to CMYK, some of those oranges and different things will change. But then I'm seeing it on a computer screen. So I know that that's the difference of what it's going to look prior to having to waste paper and print it, or printing a whole big magazine and be like, oh, that picture just doesn't look as great as it was. So, that's a big thing, for just make sure that you already make it CMYK and look at. Now, a lot of people send us stuff from Canva, and that's coming out of Word and Publisher.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But most of those programs are still doing it in RGB, and it's not going to look as good, or it will look slightly different, and that could be upsetting to you if you see it on the screen and you want it.
I'd be curious, when somebody does that, maybe they don't even realize it. Do you let them know, or do how can you make an adjustment, or is it like it's going to be what it's going to be?
Well, we have pit stops, so we can go in and lighten and darken most pictures that are just in a PDF, which is our favorite way to get final art.
Okay,
so that
PDF.
We don't have to. In the past, we always opened up an InDesign file, or even before that, a Quark file, and we would have to make sure all the fonts were there and nothing changed, and then export our own PDF. But if you could do that yourself and then send us the PDF, that eliminates some issues that can happen, especially with Adobe and all the issues that they're having now with fonts. And
they're switching over. I know there's some fonts that aren't.
That's a whole other
Yeah.
video that I don't want to get into.
All right.
So the thing is, make it CMYK, at least 300 DPI. The other thing that I would like to touch on really quickly is when you are designing something on your computer, you are looking at it with a light shining through it. And I personally really do like saturated pictures that have nice, solid colors. But when you look at that, you have to realize when we print on paper, no matter how bright white that paper is, I'm not putting a light behind it.
It's not projecting.
It's not a light box.
Right.
So I would always err on the side of caution and make your pictures lighter, even to the point where they look maybe a teensy bit too light on the screen. Because if it looks dark on your computer screen with a light behind it, it damn sure, once you go to print on even the brightest paper, is going to look too dark, and that's a common issue that I do see.
Okay.
So that would be another one.
Good.
The other thing that I had written here, which might be for a different... also pictures that you're putting in a brochure. If you're placing a picture in a brochure, don't place a picture that's going to be on your brochure 2x2. Don't place a picture that's 24 by 24 inches at 1200 DPI. You got a picture that's big enough to put potentially on the side of a billboard, but then you're placing it in InDesign and having it at 10% size or 2% size to fit it in there. Well, when you go to export it, it's still going to see that picture bigger than what it is. I mean, it will downsize it and do what it does in the background, but it's just unnecessary. It's wasting space. And you should really go and format those pictures beforehand before you're placing them in your final program.
Formatting meaning getting them to about the actual size they're going to be in the
close to the size. It's going to be 300 or plus DPI, CMYK, and then save it in a separate folder and have all your pictures in your document, or all the linking to those pictures.
Can some of these, the precise, VPI should have, can it depend what type of printing process you're using? And in other words, if somebody has a question about, because they want just a primo, end up with a primo piece, can they just call you guys, say, hey, listen,
yes, they can
for some
call.
guidance?
I mean, most of our digital printers right now are printing 600 to 1200 DPI. 300 is a minimum.
Wow, that's great.
And that's just digital, let alone the quality that you can get from our newer Ryobi presses that we have. I love when I see someone that designs it properly with nice, big, beautiful, colorful, not too dark pictures, because that really shows off the ability of print, because they've done the legwork on the design and they know what that picture should be. So yes, you should call and potentially ask. And 600, for me, being a little bit more stringent on the quality, I would go no less than 600 DPI.
Just go 600. Listen to the man.
But minimum 300.
All right. Hey, footeprinting.com. If you're not already there, check it out, because lots of other good videos like this give you a really good idea of what Michael and his crew can do there. So thanks a lot for sharing that with us, Mike. Appreciate it.